I am superbly and my supremest pontiff. Abase, you baldy queens. Gather behind me, satraps. Rots. I am till infinity obliged with you, bowed the gripes, his wine having gone to his palfrey head. I am still always having a wish on all my extremities. By the watch, what is the time, pace? Swallowed the mooks most telesphorously, the consummator, and the Sisymuses and the Zosimuses in their Roman houses quailed to hear his tardy noise at all, for you cannot wake a silken mouse out of a horse ear. Blast yourself and your anatomy inferioribus. No, hang you for an animal rurale. I am superbly and my supremest pontiff. Abase, you baldy queens. Gather behind me, satraps. Rots. I am till infinity obliged with you, bowed the gripes, his wine having gone to his palfrey head. I am still always having a wish on all my extremities. By the watch, what is the time, pace? Figure it, the pining fever, to a mooks. Ask my index, mund my Achilles, swell my oberum, wash up my nays serene, answered the mooks, rapidly by turning Clement, Urban, Eugenius, and Celestian in the foremost of good groggery humours. Quote a whore, that is quite about what I came on my mission, with my intentions laudability to settle with you, Barbarossa. Let Thor be Orlog, let Pauline be Irene, let you be beaten and let me be Los Angeles. Now measure your length, now estimate my capacity. Well, Sour, is this space of our couple of hours two-dimensional to you, temporizer? Will you give you up? Como? Fuerte? Sancta Pacientia. You should have heard the voice that answered him. Cullavo Selina. I was just thinking upon that, sweet Smooksy, but for all the rhyme on my raisin, if I can now make my submission, I cannot give you up, the gripes whimpered from nethermost of his one hope. I shall so bound will so thou to send it. My tumble loudy bullocker is my own, my felicity is to fit in one stocking, and my special in excelsis, the belowing things are both. But I will never be abler to tell your honoriousness. Here he near lost his limb, though my corked father was but a pseudo-waiter, whose o cloak you wear. Incredible. Well, hear the inevitable. Your temple, sus in cribro, semper excommunicam ambi summers, to Goyas in Europe or to Goyas in ashes, Nova Rome, my creature, believe and blives. My building space in Leonine City is always to let to Leon like men, the mooks in a most consistoros allocution, pontifically, with immediate jurisdiction constantinously concluded. What a crammer for the shake-rocked gripes. And I regret to proclaim that it is out of my temporal to help you from being killed by inches. What a thrust. As we first met each other, knew where so early. Poor little sow-sieve, sub-squashed gripes. I begin to feel contention for him. My side, thanks to Creakles, is as safe as Mother Our's houses, he continued, and I can see from my holy dome what it is to be wholly sane. Union Jock can be joined to Yock. Paris is to say Crucicrux belongs to him who Parises himself. And there, I must leave you subject for the pressing. I can prove that against you. Wait a moment, mine good enemy, or Cospel's not a star. I bet you this dozen odd. This voluminous dozen odd. Quas primas, but 'tis better to comport my knowledge's fructose of tomes. Elevating to give pint to his blick, his jewelled pederect to the all-misty ceiling, he lucky struck blue-willed out of a few should-be santillants, a cloister of starabouts over maples, a Lucioles in Teresa Street, and a stop sign before Sophie Barrett's. He gathered to guard the odds docents of his volumes, Gresque, Latin, and Rossi Cruction, onto the laps of his prolegs, into umfolk one scuppered and sat about his wider-proof. He proved it well, who on earth dry and drysic times, and Regnamont to says, to the extinction of Nicolaus altogether. Nicolaus Alopecius having been the once gripes' hot-willed nimbum, by Euclidius and Anaxagoras, and Mumpton and Pumpton, by Orasmus and by Amenius, by Anacletus the Jew and by Malachi the Augur, and by the Capon's collection, and after that, with Cheeky's gelatin, and all day brandy's formalon. He reproved it altogether, when not in that order, sundering in some different order, alter 330 and 100 times, by the binomial diagram, and the Phoenix walls, and the Ind, the Inkelspill legends, and the rule of the poop, and the blessings of expedience, and the juice, the judicants of Pontius Pilate, and all the mummy scripts in sick box junk room, and the chapters for the cunning of the chapters of the cunning fox by tale. While that Muctius, with pre-procession and with pro-procession, duplicitly and diclusively, was promulgating ipso facts and sad contrast, this rascally gripus, he had all but seceded in monophysicking his ill subordinates. But as awful as he had caught his base Seminoia Sarchnaxtiers to combuxinate upon the solipsis of his aspilauts, and the ache-poor users of his hagion numax to synerethetize with the bread chestiousness of his suet ovula ducos, so farfully the logopods of his sacularies were fond at variance with the synodos of his sampulium, and his badskis nepogrisimost got the hoof from his filioquus. After 1,000 years, O gripes upon my sheepskins, ya will be blind to the world, ensque mooks the pious. After 1,000 years, answered gripes the Gregory, be the goat of Mohammed's, yours may be still, O mooks, more both-eared. Us shall be chosen as the first of the last by the electress of Vale Hollow, observed the mooks nobly, for part the unicum of Eligiacs, us Sam in our stabulary, and that is what Ruby and Roby fall for blizzard. The pills, the nasal wash, Yardleys, the army man cut, as British as Bond Street, and a straight cut as when that broken arch traveller from Rosolan. We, confused the gripes, limply, shall not even be the last of the first, we hope, when oust are visitated by the veiled horror. And, he added, me are relying entirely, see the 43rd of Elizabeth, on the weightiness of year's breath. On sight-beared embosher, relentless foe to social and business success. Uri Aled, it might have been a happy evening, but... And they vituperated each other, Canis et Coluba, with the wildest ever wielded since Paristinus lashed this asphaltum. Unicorn, ungulant, uguloid, usky and Bull Folly answered volleyball. Nuvoletta in her light dress, spun of Sistine shimmers, was looking down on them, leaning over the banisters and listening all she childishly could. How she was brightened when Showdrops and his globbering hawk skied his welkin stuff, and how she was overcruised when these knobs on his swivel was make acting such a pulse of himself. She was alone. All her newbid companions were sleeping with the squirrels. Their mirror, Mrs. Moonen, was off in the first quarter, scrubbing the back steps of number 28. Father, that scan, he was up in Norwood's soca parlour, eating oceans of Woking blemish. Nuvoletta listened as she reflected herself, though the heavenly one with his constellatria and his emanation stood between, and she tried all she tried to make the mooks look up at her. But he was for too aliatotously far-seeing, and to make the gripes hear how coy she could be, though he was much too systematically auricular about his ends to heed her. But it was all Maya's vapour moist. Not even her faint reflection, Nuvoluccia, could they talk their noses off, for their minds, with intrepid fate and bungless curiosity, were conclaved with Theogobius and Commodus and Enobarbarus, and whatever the coordinal dickens they did as their damp roush of papyrus and book stubs said. As if that was their spiration, as if theirs could duiperate her queendom. as if she would be third party to search on search proceedings. She tried all the winsome ways her four winds had taught her. She tossed her sfuma stelliasinous hair like La Princesse de la Petite Bretagne, and she rounded her mignon's arms like Mrs. Cornwallis West, and she smiled over herself like the beauty of the image of the pose of the daughter of the Queen of the Emperor of Ireland, and she sighed after herself as were she born to bride with Tristis Tristi or Tristissimus. But sweet Madeline, she might fair as well have carried her daisies worth to Florida. For the mooks, a dog-mad aconite, were not a moose, and the gripes, a doubly-moused Catholic, was painfully oblivious. I see, she sighed, there are manners. The siss of the whisper, the sigh of the soft sing, of the stir of the grosso rondo of a long one in medias reeds, and shades began to glitter along the banks, greetsing, dusk unto dusk, and it was as gloaming could be in the waste of all peaceable world. Metanisia was all sunum chloroform brune, Cytherea bien anolan, in emerus and on numerals. The mooks had a sound eyes right, but he could not all hear. The gripes had light ears left, yet he could but ill see. He ceased, tongue and trick, and it was never so ever so dusk of both of them. But still move thought on the deeds of the aunts, he would profound, come the marks, and still gry field of the scripes, he would escape it by Christ, he had luck in it. Oh, how it was dusk. From Valle Maria to Gracia Plena, dormimus seco. Adieu. It was so dusk that the tears of night began to fall, first by ones and twos, then by threes and fours, at last by fives and sixes of sevens, for the tired ones were weeping, as we weep now with them. Oh, how happy. Then there came down to the dither bank a woman of no appearance. I believe she was a black with chills at her feet, and she gathered up his holiness the mooks mortemorfully, where he was spread, and carried him away to her invisible dwelling, that heights Aquila Rapax, for he was the holy sacred Solomon Pashat, spit of her Pashat sacred. So you see, the mooks, he had reason as I knew, and you knew, and he knew all along. And there came down to the hither bank a woman to all important, though they say that she was comely, spite the cold in her feed. And, for he was as like it as blow it to a hawker's hank, she plucked down the gripes, torn panicky autotone, in anger from his limb, and carried away its beatitudes with her, to her unseen shilling. It is de rore cheli. And so the poor gripes got wrong, for that is always how a gripes is, always was and always will be, and it was never so thoughtful of either of them. And there were left now an only elm tree, and but a stone, Paul with Pietrus, Sier but Saul. Oh, yes, and Nuvoletta, alas. Then Nuvoletta reflected for the last time in her little long life, and she made up all her myriads of drifting minds in one. She cancelled all her endorsements. She climbed over the banisters. She gave a childy, cloudy cry. Nuée. A light dress fluttered. She was gone. And into the river that had been a stream, for 1,000 of tears had gone in her, and come on her, and she was stout and struck on dancing, and her muddy name was Mrs. Liffey. There fell a tear, a single tear, the loveliest of all tears. I mean for those Cry-Love Fables fans, who are keen on the pretty commonplace sort of thing you meet by Hope for it was a leap tear. But the river tripped on her by and by, lapping as though her heart was brook. Why, way, oh way, I so silly to be flowing, but I no canna stay. No applause, please, bast. The Rome Scott Knuckle Shaker will go round your circulation in due dorsus. Alla boy, Major, I'll take your reactions in another place after theme. Nolan Brown, you may now leave the classroom. Joe Peters, Fox. As I have now successfully explained to you, my own natural-born rations, which are even in excise of my vaulty brain, ensure me that I am a mouth's more deserving case by genius. I feel in sympathos for my ever-devoted friend and half-a-loaf unwashed, Knackers Nyakovich, darling gem, darling smallpox, or a show. I could love that man like my own Ambo for being so bailey clever, though he's an awful curelance, and I must slave to methodiousness. I want him to go and live like a Piadel, in charge of the night brigade on Tristan da Cunha, Isle of Man Overboard, where he'll make number 106, and be near inaccessible. The meeting of mahoganies with the waves reminds me that this exposed site, though it pines for an umbrella of its own, and needs a shelter belt of the true service sort to keep its bowls clean, the weeping beaches, Pissia and Pilia, are in a wild state about it, ought to be classified, as Cricket Butt Willom and his two nurserymen advisors suggested, under genus inexhaustible, when we refloat upon all the butternut, sweet gum, and manna ash red cetera, which is so purulent there, as if there was hawthorns in Corachesa, which ought to look as plain as a lodgepole to anybody, until we are introduced to that tiny tacoteca of Verni Rubius, where the Diodati is pictured for us in a pure stand, which we do not doubt has a habitat of doing, but without those self-sown seedlings, which are a species of proof that the largest individual can occur at or in an elevation such as East Connor Hillock, where it mixes with full flotations and common sallies and is tender, lux populus, as we say in Hickory Hockory, and I wish we had some more glasses of arborvitae. Why wrote by the roadside or on over Allenpop? All the man white beaver is Dactyl. He ought to go away for a change of ideas, and he'd have a world of things to look back on. Do, sweet Daniel. If I weren't a Jones in myself, I'd elect myself to be his dolphin in the Wildsdillo, because he is such a barefooted robber with my super socks pulled over his face, which I published in my best back garden for the latification of siderodromites, and to the irony of the stars. You will say it is most un-English, and I shall hope to hear that you will not be wrong about it. But I, further, feeling a bit puffy in my truths. Will you please come over and let us more mergiously to each other down below our vices? I am underheard by old Bill Faust. Wilch is full of crux. The cool skittle is Philip Deadenight. Mr. Whist is there over behind the want-not. Wilch and Whist are as thick as thins or as Faust on the Deadenight. Sconosciuto estas preta la pizza malgranda. Li legas al scientia chambro. Quelque foie fructas. Quelque foie shrumpa shultroi. Hurian kiel vi fartas, mia nigra signoro. And from the point of fun where I am trying to arrive you at, they are on all fours foible-minded as you can feel their fable bodies. My hearers will recoil with a great leisure how at the outbreak before trespassing on the space question, where even Michelangelines have fooled to dread, I proved to myself, as for your satisfaction, how his abject all through the quick wit of Professor Ciondolone's too frequently hypothecated bettermensch is nothing so much more than a mere cash dime, however genteel he may want ours, if we please. I am speaking to us in the second person, for to this graded intellectual's dime is cash, and the cash system, you must not be allowed to forget that this is all contained, I mean the system, in the dog marks of origin on spurios, means that I cannot now have or not have a piece of cheeks in your pocket at the same time and with the same manners as you can now not have or half the cheek a piece I've in mind, unless Burrus and Cassius have not or not have simultaneously cis-entangled themselves, cell dear to soul there, once in the dairy days of by and by. Boris, let us like to imagine, is a genuine prime, the real choice, full of natural grease, the mildest of milk stuff, yet unbeaten as a ricicide, and of course obsoletely unadulterous, whereas Cassius is obviously the reverse of him, and in fact not an ideal choose by any means, though the better man of the two is meltingly addicted to the more casual side of the arrivalist case, and let me say it at once, as zealous over him as is